It's time for an update on Project Turbo. Let's go. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I'm Matt. You're not Matt. If you want to follow me on Instagram, check it out here. I post updates before I do videos like this. Sometimes you'll have to see, but I just want to give you guys a little bit of an update and show you what I've been working on, because I know some of you would like to get an update rather than it take a couple weeks for me to finish things like I'm about to show you, which is cool too. All right, here we are. This is where I am at. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving, by the way. So I just about have the intake manifold finished up. I know it looks like, hey, it's sitting on the car. It's probably finished. It's almost there. It's coming out pretty decent, but the issue I'm running into is this welder over here just doesn't have enough penetration for these 1/2-inch thick flanges. So I've kind of been having to take it slow, only because my breaker keeps kicking off because it's pulling so many amps, but also the machine goes into overheat mode because it just can't really punch through it. It'll give me about a minute of weld time before it just trips the breaker or goes into overheat mode. So we got the manifold looking pretty decent. I took the little plastic covering off the wiring harness, that way I could get the throttle body cable over to the throttle body. This is off of, it's either a LNF or LSJ. I forget which one, but it's the larger 2.7-inch size. So I got a reducing coupler from 2.75 to 2.5. And I'm starting to make the intercooler piping. And we've got a little bit of a straight shot coming down, straight out this way. But here's another issue I'm facing. This cheap eBay, and get out of there. Tubing is so thin, it's so easy to blow through, and I'm just not happy with the way it's coming out. As a comparison to some of the good stuff, you can see the difference in thickness between the two. This is a piece that wasn't part of an eBay kit. It's thicker, although it is larger because I was going to use this potentially for the intake to have this thing go down in here like that. But it rains here too much, which is why this intake ended up working out well. Just a thicker material, closer to 1/8 of an inch. It just worked out better. I wasn't blowing through. I was able to maintain my welds and get nice penetration. But with the way this is going, I am just not happy. I blew through it so many times. I blew through it there, over here, and I'm like having to build it up, and it's just starting to create a nasty mess inside of there, which I'm not too thrilled about that. So I think what I'm going to do is skip the eBay stuff. I'll use the couplers. That's not my coat, by the way. I'll use the couplers that came with the kit. I'm only going to use about 4 or 5, 6 at the most. And I think I'll start over because it will just turn out better. This stuff is pretty thin versus, hear a difference? Maybe not. There is a difference though. I got the intercooler mounted. I just made a inexpensive bracket. Went to get some flat bar from Home Depot or Lowe's, one of the two. Just made myself a little bracket. This thing's nice and sturdy. I do need to make a mount down at the bottom to make sure this thing doesn't rattle around. And we'll continue on with the intercooler. I've kind of been rethinking this whole situation with this because so this overflow tank, the heater hose that connects this lower portion was just in the way of this tube. There wasn't really anything I can do. We're getting around the brake lines, we're getting around all this stuff, but this thing was just protruding out into where this needed to be. So I'm gonna have to potentially just kind of refigure how this hose goes. But I'll probably just cut it and have it kind of, I don't know, I need to figure out a way to get that to there without it running into the intercooler piping. Then I was thinking about was I could trim this battery box down, maybe even extend this negative ground, and I could just set it down in here a little bit. So that way this hose just goes straight to this overflow tank, but I don't know how much that's going to affect it with it being lower in the chassis, because this thing is one of the highest points of the whole cooling system. So that's something else I got to think about. Let me know down in the comments what you think. So aside from that, we got to do our fuel. We still have our fuel to do. I'm gonna trim that off with a pipe cutter. Same way I trimmed that. Nice clean cut. No sparks involved. And we've got to do our fuel rail still. Get that all situated. And then there's a few sensors like this evaporative canister thingamabob. We have our map sensor, which is this one here. So I'll probably have to weld something on top of this intake, so that way that map sensor can mount over here, because there's really not a lot of room for this thing to go anywhere aside from right about here. So we still got the intake to finish up. We got fuel to do. We got to completely, if anything, this was or will be a good template for getting some better stuff in. It'll make it a lot easier. A lot of stuff, less stuff to figure out, but it's coming along nicely. I got some couplers coming in. I'm just trying to make sure all of these are mated up to directly to, get off of there. Well, now everything's falling apart. But anyways, I've got the length of this towards where it's actually mating up, and all the coupler is doing is holding these two together. So there's still lots more to do. I have been filming, making the intake as well as the intercooler stuff. And I'm just at a stopping point with it until I can order some more stuff. And I'm also out of gas for welding. So lots of things still to figure out. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment down below. I can use all the help I can get. Until next time, guys, peace out with your peace out.